It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey and comics from all over. We ended up in Japan because we wanted to avoid Yoko Ono's so-called music. It's Yoko. Oh no. The Talk Funny podcast from Nagoyaradio.com and Nagoyacomedy. Speaking of oh no, here's Mark Bailey.
Here's Mark Bailey.
And we're back with Talk Funny. I'm Mark Bailey, and we're here with Tim Lennane. Tim Lennane does comedy with us, and
I try to.
What's funny is when we're doing the name droppings, the stories, the funny stories, it reminds me of a story, and then it reminds you of a story, and then that's kind of like a story I know, and that's the way storytelling goes. So before I forget, I had a funny Barry Manilow story. So first of all, he recently, it was kind of a scandal. I mean, people were like, could you believe that Barry Manilow was gay? I'm like, yeah. Copacabana. I mean,
he finally came out of the closet.
Yeah, man is in his name, Manilow. His first hit was Mandy, man.
Apparently, that was a well-known hidden secret.
But apparently, he was married to his partner for decades.
Yeah.
Apparently. So this is back before then, and I'm one of my trips back to New York, and I went back to Brooklyn, and I just go to the corner. This is important because the street that I was born on, Neptune Avenue, that's a very big street for Brooklyn because for Brooklyn, it's basically Coney Island. There are so many people. Joseph Heller, the author of Catch-22, he was born in Brooklyn. Barry Manilow, Carole King, Jerry Goffin, Steely Dan members, Steely Dan guys, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. A lot of them, just Three Dog Night. There's so many people born in Brooklyn, so many musicians in the heyday of the 50s and 60s and 70s. And so, it's not unusual. It wasn't unusual. Like, you'll drive by, like I always knew where Barry Manilow's mom lived, because that's where he used to live. It's on my street. So one day I'm back. He's visited his mom, as we all do, and I was visiting my mom. I stopped into a corner store, and in Brooklyn they call them bodegas, even if they're not Latin. They just call them bodegas. I stopped into a Brooklyn corner store, and I was getting milk or something for my mom, milk and butter or whatever. And I look around the corner and looking at the soft drinks is Barry Manilow. And I'm a music nerd, DJ, comic nerd, so I know people, right? So I looked at him, and we're not in a famous part of New York, so there's no tourists usually there. Nobody goes to Brooklyn. And so I look at him, and then he looks at me, he looks away, and I said, hey, how you doing? And he goes, you know who I am? I'm like, yeah. And this is funny because at the time I knew his real name, because everybody knew his real name on the street. Barry Allen Pincus, that's his name.
Oh, okay.
We always knew him as Allen Pincus, Al. So I said, hey, Al. And he goes, you know who I am? Because why would I be calling him Al, right? And he's like, I don't think I am who you think I am. And I said, well, you're known as Barry, but you're Al. And he goes, oh, yeah. And he goes, yeah. I said, yeah, I live in this. My parents live on this street. He goes, oh, yeah, I know your mom. And I said, so he goes, so how's your mom? I'm like, fine. What have you heard? I was on my way. Why, is she fine? I gotta go. It says two Jewish guys.
Did she?
Two Jewish guys, and he goes, people usually don't even talk to me, so I've just not, people here, he goes, that's why I don't go to Manhattan, because everybody knows me. But in Brooklyn, who cares, So it was funny. He was a very nice guy. And he tried to pick me up, and that's how I knew he was gay. No, he didn't try to pick me up.
He grabbed your ass.
All right.
You didn't say it. You did.
I asked him to, but he was in a hurry. So you please grab my butt, because I could really use the lawsuit money.
Yeah.
I could really.
Can't you just finish me off like John Travolta?
I've got the Hollywood Reporter on speed dial. Please touch me. Please touch me. So you had something you wanted to talk about, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, what's your name? Because I'm getting old. I keep forgetting. Oh yeah, it's Mark. Mark actually came on. He's been in the comedy scene forever here in Nagoya, but the whole point was that I didn't really start trying to really do comedy, and that's not seriously, because you can't be serious in Japan, really.
Nobody takes you seriously.
Like, I'm everything but a teacher, but yeah, I pretend to be a comedian. We started doing stand-up way back when at Misfits, and Mark was still on the scene there, but he never came out and did Misfits. And I produced.
I was on the air, yeah. I was
on the air.
He was going to bed at 9 p.m., yeah.
Making money at comedy.
Well, it's like Seinfeld. I did stuff with Seinfeld, but once you get a TV deal or a radio deal, that's what you're on stage for. You're not on stage so you can be on stage for the rest of your life.
Right.
We're all looking for a break. So that's what I was always trying to tell Miles. He's like, yeah, but I did it after you, but kind of before you. I'm like, no, everybody did it after me. That's my whole point. It's like, if you had gotten a radio gig, you would have been on the radio because it pays better than Misfits or the stuff we're doing now.
And truth, Miles' stuff was really, really great. And actually, I have a videotape of it. I mean, he's fantastic. He's like a natural.
Very funny.
And that kind of fell apart because of the Night of Blood. And the whole thing is that it started up again 2 years ago because, Joe and I we missed the comedy night. Let's put it back together. And we had one, and Mark showed up. And Mark was like the celebrity. Finally showed up. He goes, no, I've done this professionally. I did it back in America when?
In the 80s,
in
late
the
80s. Yeah.
Catskills, actually making a living at this. You can't make a living at comedy in Nagoya. I mean, you just can't. You might get paid a little bit. I mean, that's all because of Mark. And we look up to him because he came on. He really has a really tight act, and he actually is inspiring us by, he goes, all about the writing of comedy, because everybody thinks you just get up there and kind of wing it, and that's the furthest thing from the truth.
Yeah.
He said, you write every day, and he gave us like a us trying to be comedians, as kind of students of it, learning about it. He'd like give us assignments like, hey, write 5 jokes a day.
Yeah.
Just write 5 jokes a day. See if you can do that. Then choose the best ones for your act. Yeah. When you actually get it, memorize them, and that's I've stuck with that, and it's helped me trying to do stand-up comedy has helped me a lot with my comedy writing. When I actually try to write rom-coms and try to break back into Hollywood from the ass end of nowhere out here in Nagoya. But I've actually written a couple decent comedic scripts right now that are actually making its rounds in Hollywood right now. So there you go. And so I look up to Mark. I think his routines are really fantastic, and I truly have to. His last the night of the poodle, your airplane jokes.
Oh,
were just flying out of here, man.
They were nonstop.
There you go. Anyway.
People are saying some of these are not going to take off.
they did really well. You landed them every time.
Maybe I should abort this one, But yeah, that's a lot of fun. But yeah, that's the thing is like people don't understand. In Nagoya, we really are working. I swear we're working. This is not anything bad on the U.S. comics. They're not here with us.
Yes.
We're here. They're not. And we have to work, in my opinion, I think we're working 10 to 12 times harder because we're having to write on an accelerated schedule. In the States, on the East Coast, you can play Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, a bunch of places in New Jersey, New York, all in a 4-day period. You can go to those places. In Manhattan, you can go to 4 clubs, do 3 shows at each of the 4 clubs. That's 12 shows. Friday and Saturday, that's 24 shows. You do the same show or variant of it, and you don't have to keep writing, right? Every time that we do a new show, it's at least 95% new stuff every time, and it's the same audience sometimes, right?
Yeah, when we talk to the audience, it's like, are you doing the same stuff? No, we're not. We're doing something different.
Otherwise, they wouldn't come.
But that's also really dangerous because, you don't know if it works or not.
Yeah, and then we've got, you're with us at Toyohashi, and we've got these stories, these funny stories, like at Toyohashi, you don't get heckled on the night, you get heckled 2 weeks later by Facebook, this passive-aggressive stuff, and they, somebody in the audience goes,
after us.
Yeah, I didn't like your misogynist jokes. I'm like, they're not misogynist. I don't really feel that way.
Yeah, they're just jokes.
I don't feel that way. I'm pretending to be a character. Andrew Dice Clay is actually a very nice guy, but he plays a character.
Yeah, when I wear my white privilege, it's not because I'm white.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I am white. But there you go. But the thing, I was talking about that is, the whole idea is we are writing new stuff and trying to write new stuff, and you inspired me to actually really, and truly the key is just write a lot. Write a lot, exactly. Write often, and if you come up with something funny, write it down.
Exactly.
And and try to get 5, 10 jokes a day. And part of the writing is like, you can look at the news articles. You can where do you ever get this question? Where do you get your material?
Yeah.
Where do you get your material, Mark?
I got this habit that I started in radio. When you have a radio show, when you have a morning show, you have about 2 to 4 hours that you just have to fill, and maybe you can fill an hour of that with music, but you're expected to have fun with the weather, have fun with the traffic. Then you got a guest on. You don't even know who that is. You're supposed to have fun with them. And so you just learn to make jokes and you collect them, right? And so you have to have a little memo pad. So I recommend anybody in radio or comedy usually has a pad like this.
A good writer carries on a notebook. And
the size is depends on what's convenient to you. This is convenient to me because it's not bulky. It's what about the size of an index finger?
I try to tell my wife it's not about the size either.
It's not. I tell my wife all the time it's not about the size.
Yeah, she
it's
says
about what's in it. She's like, well, there's nothing in it either.
Just you're really comfortable, Tim.
It's the quantity. It's not the quantity or the quality. Well, you have neither. Well, so I walk. I got this happen a long time ago where I'm walking. For example, I'm walking through in Nagoya. We have a Central Park there.
Yeah, Central Park, yes.
Near the TV tower. And I'm thinking about tomorrow. I have nothing to talk about for 2 hours on my radio show, and I'm going to bed at 9 p.m. Can't talk about my kids all the time. So I walk by, and there's these two cops, and they're trying to get this homeless guy. And people say, well, Japan doesn't have homeless. Yeah, they do. I will introduce you to them. I know them by name. But we do have them. Not a lot, but we have some.
Yes.
And this one guy, he's laying on the ground. He's laying on the ceramic tile inside this nice shop that we call Central Park, the underground area. And these two cops are like, "Gambatte kudasai, gambatte kudasai." And he said,
Go for it.
He said the unforgivable, which you are not allowed to say in Japan. Gambaritaku nai.
Oh, yeah.
You can't say that.
You can't say
I don't want to try hard. I don't want to go for it. You have to try. No, I don't want to. I don't want to expand my effort. Basically, I don't want to go
quit.
And so they hit him over the head with their billy clubs. I just thought that was hilarious because, first of all, in manzai, in Japanese comedy, that's the punchline is you hit somebody over the head. But I've never seen somebody say, I don't really feel like doing it today. Boom, boom, boom. The cops
get up, you bastard.
Usually, if you get assaulted by a cop in the States, it's usually because he thinks you have a gun or, you may be black or something. So there's a reason for it. There's usually a reason for it. That's the reason. Well, what'd you shoot him? Because he's black. Oh, okay. All right.
That's all right, yeah?
Black Lives Matter, you can... Tim Lennane, Lennane.
My name is Bob Tiki.
Might have to cut that. So I thought that was hilarious. So I wrote it down in my thing, and in my notebook, and then I used that the next day, and it worked. And so since then, I've always, whatever happens to me, I try to remember so I can tell the story again. And if you think hard enough about it, you can make a funny twist to it. So like the thing with the dog. Before I took the dog back, I wrote down everything I could remember about the night before. Like, how did this even happen? Like, I was talking to some girl, and now I got a poodle.
Yeah,
what is this?
She changed like from at 12 o'clock.
And so I was thinking, and for each story, if you think about it long enough, you'll come up with a kind of an ending to it. So, and it may or may not be true.
Yes, but the people that you tell these jokes in your routine, everybody thinks that's you. Yeah. And you're like, for the longest time, people thought I had a fetish for McDonald's uniforms. I don't understand that.
You don't really?
No, I don't.
What is it? What are those quotation marks? I don't. Not anymore.
Really, I don't love the smell of grease. Really,
not anymore.
I don't, really.
Not anymore. This is a good conversation. I think we can continue this in the next episode if you can come back next week. And this has been Talk Funny. I'm Mark Bailey, and we've been here with Tim Lennane. And thanks for listening, and we'll be back next week.